Hello. Today I got inspired by a friend of mine who shared what Irene Luber taught about coaches. So let's begin. Irene Luber is a public figure in Netherlands and he's hosting a TV show. I appreciate his sense of humor and he's basically commenting on many topics that I'm interested in. Actually, anyone who lives here. People might say different things about him, but I found interesting guests that he's bringing, like many authors, which I'm already following. And today's spot, actually, he has his show on Sunday evenings, but they're accessible on YouTube, LinkedIn. The discussion was about mental health care issues, which are not supported only by people who are officially trained for that, meaning clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, people who are certified healthcare providers. And we all know that healthcare system became increasingly inaccessible and burdened and unsustainable. And on the other hand, you have a lot of self-proclaimed professionals, people who claim to be coaches. I know that a lot of them think that have something to offer and people want to do what they propose, but one of the main values of that whole approach is that people who have personal experience with mental health, for example, people who suffered complex PTSD, people who suffered from depression and try usual approaches, talking therapy and things like that, and find out that sharing their experiences may be helping some others. So I found very striking similarity between this phenomenon when we are flooded with coaches who are saying that they know better than trained psychiatrists and trained psychologists to help people with mental health care issues. And I found striking similarity with the phenomena I witnessed with alternative medicine. Back then, I was living in a socialistic country which was torn down by war and inflation and crisis. And I think that in those crises, people tend to stop believing to system which is not accessible to them and try to find other ways how to help themselves. For example, when I was trained in neurology in Belgrade and I was talking with a neurologist who was actually my mentor back then, we were discussing how it is possible that the state, which is in charge of ministry, and ministry is in charge of regulating practices like in healthcare, like hospitals, clinics, and etc., why it is so frequent that people are seeking help from people who are sorcerers or preaching homeopathy and different alternative approaches. And he told me, look, it doesn't look nice, but the reality of it is that once that healthcare funds are already empty, they will simply let people go after something else in order not to spend money from their insurance. This is one reason, and actually I got the goosebumps because that was probably what was behind the scenes. But second thing, I had the opportunity to write about the movement of homeopathy. And basically anyone who has contact with chemistry or biochemistry or physical chemistry knows that this is complete nonsense. There is no whatsoever proven effect that homeopathic potions can actually help, but they might help certain number of people because of placebo. And this is shown so many times. But again, in some countries, insurances are even covering homeopathy. I was baffled to find out that they are basically covering from your insurance something which is homeopathy, and they're not covering something which is transcranial magnetic stimulation or any sort of stimulation of brain which is solidly proven in science. So what is it going on there? I think that there are two reasons. First, in the time of crisis, people are turning heads to find alternative solutions. No matter how much critique they got from their family and friends that this is nonsense, they simply want to solve their solution. I witnessed that many times, for example, when a friend had very serious illness and didn't improve with conventional therapy, she said, look, my life is at stake, my health is at stake, so I'm going to try anything that might help. If that helps, I don't question whether somebody approves or not. My health care, my health is at stake, so I'm going to do something about that. This is the first thing. Second thing is that if you go and look for help in conventional system, since economy is ruling how the things are going in healthcare, your doctor will probably have something like 10 minutes for you, together with bureaucratic tasks that she or he has during that visit. Someone who is dealing in alternative medicine or who is selling his assistance as a coach probably has much more time. So those people listen to you. They listen every single detail. Like when you go to a palm reader or someone who is reading your tarot, they're actually picking up information from what you're saying to them. You're actually disclosing the details sufficient for somebody else to connect the dots and find out what you should do. I'm not saying that that unscientific approach always helps, but people are suggestive, and in psychology and psychiatry we know for quite a long time that beside placebo there is also nocebo. If somebody tells you that you're suffering from something, you're probably going to get symptoms like almost every medical student in school. And human psyche is a very curious thing. If you believe that somebody is going to help you, the chances are it will work out for majority of people. To compare my thoughts with what Irene Luber is commenting on and other people who are professionals in mental health care, maybe the answer is how we perceive our patients. I mean, people who are working in mental health care, they are burdened, they're in chaotic state, they figure out that not many things they are offered are working. They are laughing at people who are calling themselves coaches. But again, the most important thing for recovery is that somebody feels safe and heard. And this is maybe a topic, maybe food for thought for trained examiners in psychiatry and psychology, to think about why somebody would choose a random coach from internet instead of talking to them and trusting them their mental health. And please share your thoughts about this. I would love to know what you think about this topic. I think it's extremely important and it is everywhere around us. Thank you for listening.